Okay, let's welcome to the third session of this Docker training. I will go up for a slight in the last session there were some hiccups, so I will go back to the previous some portion of previous sessions, just quickly go through and we will continue from there. Okay. So in the last session we have seen that how to install Docker on Linux. So these are the 5 steps that we follow to install a Linux on to install Docker on Linux. And that's the first step is you have to update your libraries, present libraries of your operating system. And then you have to install it. You can install it via RPM also. You can install it via this command also, get.docker.com, and pass it to the script. Okay. Then you have to start the Docker daemon. So which is a sudo systemctl start Docker. If you want to add this Docker into the boot actually, so that when you boot your virtual machine, you should have Docker up and running. So you have to add it on a. So the last step is. You have to add it on enable a Docker as a service in the systemctl. So what happens that if you do that, every time you boot your virtual machine, your service will be up. Just like it's a common command for every service. You can we used to do that enabling network also, disabling a network also. Okay, and we can check the status of the Docker with this command, this systemctl status Docker. Okay. Today we will go through some of the basic commands which we need to know on day-to-day basis, because these are the common commands which we use almost on a daily. Okay. So the first command is Dockerpool. What does Dockerpool does? It pulls images from Docker Hub. So you need to have a command syntax is Docker pull, and you need to pass your image name. Image name you can get it from your Docker Hub. If you suppose I'm doing Ubuntu image, I can pass it. Okay, I can look into this official image. Okay, and I can know the command that what is the command for this image, Docker pull Ubuntu. Okay, and if you any particular version, we can pass it as a tag. So just like I explained, Docker pull, image name, and tag. So if you want the previous version, you can have a previous version. The latest, if you don't pass any version, it is the latest, the one with the latest tag will get pulled out. Okay. So this the Docker pull, what Docker pull does, it pulls the images from the hub to your local host machine. So you can use that images to create the container. Okay. Docker images will show that what all images are present on your host operating system, which means that whatever images you have pulled out from the hub or which have done it, we will show in Docker images. Okay. Docker run is a command to create a container, and start the container. Okay, it does the both purpose at the same time. We will see the examples later also, but I'm just going through it. But I will also showcase you how to use all these commands. Okay. Docker rm command. If you want to delete a container, you have to do a Docker rm, and you have to pass the container ID or the container name. Okay. Docker logs will show the logs of that container, because when you start any container, it start giving you logs also. If sometimes the container didn't start, you can check also logs for that container. So it's like a console logs for them. Okay. Docker start will start the created container. So you can create a container with Docker create. You can start with Docker start. If you want to run the both commands at one go, you have to do the Docker run. Okay. Docker stop will stop the container. Docker restart will restart your container. Okay. Docker exec will what Docker exec does, because your container is isolated environment with your base OS profile, you can log in inside your container and run whatever commands, just like you are logging into a particular virtual machine. You can imagine that it's an isolated environment with your OS profile. You can log in and you can run all the commands. So, but to log in inside the container, you have to pass the Docker exec and pass the container ID. Okay. Docker PS will show what all containers are running. Docker PS
So
-a
what
will
is the
show.
difference between this Docker exec and Docker start, the earlier slide command?
Yeah, Docker start will start your stop container. Okay.
Or Docker run.
Docker run will create and run the container. Docker start will start your stop container. Okay. Docker exec will log in inside your container. Okay, you can go inside your container and you can run all the commands you want. You can install something like that. Okay.
Okay, so if I don't run Docker exec, then I cannot go inside the container.
No, you can't go there. You will on the prompt of host operating system. You won't go inside the container.
Okay, go ahead.
Without exec, that means we are in an offline mode.
No, offline or container is running, but if you want to log in inside the container and run some command, you can go to Docker exec and you get the terminal for your container terminal.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm still not sure about the run and start. Means run means it's started running and it start, right? So
no, Docker run does. So you created a container. Okay. Container is still not in a run mode. Okay. Not in a stop mode. So Docker, what if you pass a Docker run and an image name, it will create the container. It will start the container. Okay.
Okay. So I don't need to then run explicitly start command again.
No. So and if you run the container, you can stop it also. So you can you can stop it with the Docker stop. Then how if you want to restart your container, you can do the Docker start.
Yeah. So if I run Docker run command, then it will also do the job for start as well. That's what I want to do.
But it will not create the container.
Sorry.
Okay. So Docker run is the combination of two commands. It's like a creation of container and starting of container.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if I run the Docker run, it will create and it will start the container.
Yeah. That's what the Docker run does.
Okay, thank you.
Docker EXX.
Okay. I've showcased some examples. I will go to this terminal and we will see what we can run. So I've already pulled the images because last time when I tried to pulling the images, the network goes down because it tried downloading that images. So I already have this CentOS images. Okay. I've just created one images, and we will see that how we will go through all the steps, all the commands. Okay. So Docker pool, I've already done it. Okay. In this case, I've done for the CentOS. Docker. If I do the Docker images, it will show the whatever images are available on the host operating system. Okay.
Hi sir. Sir, I have one doubt, sir. For image, we need to download it from dockerhub.com.
Yeah, so using a Docker pool command.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I have these images. Okay, and if I do, suppose if I run this command, what will do? So if I run this command. And if I give the images, because I have these images, okay, so CentOS, what we will do, it created this CentOS container from these images and also run this command echo hello world, so it printed a hello world. Okay, so if I do Docker PS, okay, it will not show any container, but if I do Docker PS -a, it created a container with the image CentOS. Okay, it with the command that I passed it here. Okay, just I pass it here. Okay, it run that command and it exited that container because I have not started this container in interactive mode or in a detached mode. I just created that container and it run the container and it's gone down. Okay.
So after executing the command, that container got terminated.
Let me complete all the steps, so then we have a question session. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if I do Docker PS, because we have not started that container, we have not we have only run that container in a non-interactive mode or in a non-detached mode. There is no container currently running, but there was a container created and it executed and it is stopped. So that's why Docker ps-a will show that container. It has exited about a minute. Okay. The name of the container is because we have not passed any name while creating this container. It was a name that was given by Docker daemon. Okay. Can everyone go on mute because I am hearing some of the background noise. Okay. If I want to run a container in an interactive mode, so what does it does? If I do Docker run, it will create a container and start a container. If I -it is for interactive, I have to pass the image name. I have only one images on this host CentOS. So what we done it will create a container, it will start that container and it will logged in inside the container because I have started in an interactive mode. If I do so, if you see this, now I'm not in a local my own host, I'm inside the container. So all these, if I do ls-la, it will show everything that is there inside the container. Now I'm inside the container. I'm not on the host. I've logged in inside the container. Okay.
But you mentioned we have to run the docker exec command to run any command.
So there are two ways actually. If I do Docker run interactive mode without a detached one, so it will go inside your container and you can run all the commands, you can exit out, but you don't have the terminal to go out within that same mode. Okay. So I will showcase how you can run in a detached mode and go to exec and start running some of the commands. So Docker run has done the two steps. It has created your container. Docker exec will not create your container. Okay. It has started your container. Docker exec is not going to start a container. Okay. Docker exec command is only for login inside your container. Since you have started this container in an interactive mode without in a daemon mode, so -d command is for in a detached or daemon mode, or we use both terms for that. Then it will by default logs in inside your container just so that you can run inside your container because you have started in an interactive mode and not in a detached mode. Okay. So how will it interact it? If we do Docker run CentOS, if we only do Docker run CentOS, it will create a container and it had no command to run for that. Okay. It will just exit it out. So if I do Docker ps, there is no container running because you have created a container in an interactive mode. You log inside the container, but the moment you exit it out, the container dies. Okay. If you want to create a container and run run as a daemon mode, so you have a command. If you want to run in a daemon mode, so you have to do Docker run -it in the interactive mode -d in daemon mode. Okay. If I do this, my container got created and it has not died. Okay. This is the only mode in a daemon mode, or -d is also called, someone calls it a detached mode. It is not attached to this terminal process. So it has, the container has been created and is up and running. Now if you want to log in inside the container, I have to do Docker exec, okay, -it, okay, the container ID and what cell you want, if you batch cell. Okay. Now I'm logged inside the container. Okay. I can do clear here also. I'm logged inside the container. Now I have to do exit. The container doesn't die. Container is still intact. So so if I go to Docker exec -hyphen and container ID and batch, it will log inside the container and you can run, or you can execute any commands. If you want to install, suppose MySQL over it, you can do that. You can install any RPM over it. You have to configure the network to get access to the internet here. That will come, we will come later. I think after 2 seconds when you start Docker networking, you can install whatever you want. You can upgrade, modify your container that will not be exactly a copy of your instance of your images. You can do whatever you want. You can create a file also. So if I do ls minus la, and I can create the mkdir suppose training. Okay, so my container has this folder called training. Okay, I've made a change on the container. If I do exit till the time if this container is alive and this container is there, this modify is there. But if you create if you create a new container with the same images, okay, if you do the same images, sorry, I didn't mean that. I mean to start in a daemon mode. Okay, so I have now two containers. Okay, and let me create the same. So I have now two containers. The first container here, is has been created exactly with that the image copy. The second is a modified container because I have made some changes inside the container. Okay, and these are all other isolated environment, and you can run multiple copies of it, and both with each environment is not affected by the other one. Okay, so here comes your host machine, and you have a two isolated environment which has a CentOS image on it. So you can have your CentOS image, you can have your web server images also, you can have Tomcat images, you can have MySQL images, whatever images you want, you can have run it as a multiple. Okay, now if you see that if you do docker exec -it, and if you go to this one, and I've logged inside the container, and if I go to this one, I don't have this training folder created. Okay, but if I go to another container, because I have modified that container only, sorry, I have this training folder created here, but it's not there. Okay, so I can have multiple containers from the same images. I can have I can create a multiple containers, and with the same every container will run as a isolated environment.
So with you have created two. If I do PS, if you can see the two container ID. So that those are different. Those are total isolated, but
both are isolated environment. They are not related to each other. They can't communicate directly. They have to, if I have to communicate, they have to communicate via network channel. You can consider each has another machine.
Okay, so they cannot communicate to each other unless you created the network.
Yeah, until I make it available via network. Okay.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
So consider that because it's a virtualized environment, what Docker try to achieve is that you don't need to create another virtual machine, but you can create as a short form, as a mimic of virtualization in form of containers. Okay, so treat every container as a separate machine. Okay, I have a couple of more commands. After that, I will take all the questions. Okay. Okay, so we have this container running, so we want to stop it. So Docker stop, and I have to pass the container ID. The container is stopped. Okay, so if I do Docker PS, only one container running. If I do Docker PS -a, it will show all the containers running. Containers also, stop container also. So this one E6H is now stopped. So it exited 10 seconds ago. So because I stopped it, I can start it again. So I can do Docker start. So there were questions that what is the use of this difference run and start. Start is only going to start a stop container.
How can we stop all the container at a time?
So you can give to Docker to stop, and you have to pass all the containers ID. You can pass multiple containers ID. Okay. You can pass Docker stop. You can pass multiple containers ID, something like that. Okay. So you can pass this container ID, and also you can pass this one container ID. Okay, it will stop both the containers. Environment we don't use any of these commands because everything was scripted. So either through a Docker Compose or through a Docker Swarm or through a Kubernetes. Okay, so these are the commands. To the start, we run these commands to understand all the stuff. But if you see the production environment, you won't get a chance to even to run these all commands because they will either are part of your Docker Compose file, or you are handling your containers through managing your containers through Swarm or managing through Kubernetes. Okay. Okay, so there are two more commands that has been left. So if I want to delete a container, so for deleting container, the condition is that your container should be stopped. So I can see that if docker ps-a, I can see the container state. If I do docker rm and I can stop this because this container is already stopped. If I do docker rm, this container will be deleted. So if I do docker ps-a, we won't show that container. Okay, and the another is that command is that docker logs, and this is the important commands because it will give the console logs for that container. Okay, so take any container, running container, or even you can take the stop container also. So docker logs, it will not show anything because we have not run anything on that. But if you take this one, if you create a container with this command of this command, okay, if I create a container with something like this, I have to change because I am using CentOS image. Okay, docker logs, and if I do this thing, it will retain these logs of hello world. Okay, because it's a console logs for that terminal, so for that container. Sorry. Okay, we